Today I'm releasing the third in a series of Ontario Liberal plans. Achieving Our Potential is our plan for growing the economy. Considering everything that we've got going for us, we should be doing a lot better. Over the next 5 years, we'll create 50,000 more spaces in our colleges and universities. And to make sure the younger generation can afford to learn, we'll freeze tuition, increase assistance, and waive fully half the tuition for 16,000 needy Ontario students.
The McGuinty government has formally announced its promised 2-year freeze on college and university tuition fees.
There's some relief for university and college students in Ontario this fall. The government has announced a 2-year tuition freeze starting in September.
It is welcome news for Ontario students. A 2-year tuition freeze announced today.
Peu de répit pour les étudiants de la province. Le gouvernement ontarien gèle les droits de scolarité pour les 2 prochaines années.
Ontario's college and university students are getting a hand from the province, which is freezing tuition fees for the next 2 years. Students see it as a break that's been a long time
Tuition fees more than doubled across Canada on average in the 90s, and it's imposed a really significant cost on students and their families. It's meant they're graduating with very high debt loads. It's also meant, to be honest, that a lot of people from more modest backgrounds, low-income families, working-class families, stop dreaming that they can send their kids to school.
Well, we've been highlighting this issue in a coordinated fashion probably for the better part of the last decade, having organized days of action, having organized petition drives. We do all kinds of research to look at the effects of rising tuition fees, and through that process we were able to debunk the myth that rising tuition fees actually improves the quality of education. And in fact what we found is that rising tuition fees are a symptom of declining quality, in fact, in every jurisdiction, not only just in Canada but actually around the world.
But we went from having a situation a few years back where tuition fees were rising at 10% per year. There was complete deregulation on the horizon to a situation where of the 3 major parties that were running in 2003, the NDP was promising a 10% reduction in fees, the Liberals were promising a freeze, and the Tories were promising a 2% cap. And all of those are huge improvements over where we had been a few years before. So I think the debate was really shifted as a result of students working together.
organizations, but you can't change if you're improving. But unless you threaten the survival of the organization, then change is not, real change isn't available until you bankrupt how it is. But yeah, we need to invent the crisis. Invent the crisis.
Thousands of university and college students took to Canada's streets today to send a message to the politicians that the price tag of education has risen far too high. There were protests in every province and in every territory in this country by students angry that their dreams for their future are being crushed by rising tuition fees and an ever-increasing debt load. It was a display of student unity not seen since the anti-Vietnam War protests of the 1960s, and the students have vowed not to give up their tuition fight.